te wā kia koutou katoa. A fast-tracked trouble, potentially putting people and property in harm's way. That's the warning this week from local authorities, river engineers and insurers as projects fast-tracked under the government's new bill would sidestep rules and protections in existing legislation, and projects which have been rejected by courts could get the go-ahead under the proposed regime, according to the government sales pitch. I should say, the fast-track approvals bill has been created to help speed up and streamline the ability to build things in New Zealand.
With this legislation, mining will be turbocharged. There will be those who exaggerate, those who worsen the prospects under the rubric of climate change, climatologists, climatarians. Join the fray. These are items of debate for the development of our country. Our country is going to grow at long last because this bill will not only build dams, open mines, develop infrastructure, it has the rua taniwha clause. Kia ora tātou.
Well, three ministers, Chris Bishop and Simeon Brown from National and Shane Jones, who you just saw there from New Zealand First, will have the final say on what gets the go-ahead. It's been welcomed by some, such as Dover Samuels.
The RMA was really a cesspit when you've got droughts on the horizon. It's crucial that we are not held up.
But it's causing consternation for others.
So the thing about fast-track legislation is it prevents the opportunity for public discussion, comment and debate. You know, it removes the ability to go to select committees or the requirement to consult with communities about what it is that they want to see in the community.
So Trans-Tasman Resources, an Australian company fighting for permission to launch an offshore mining project near Taranaki, has already signalled it will be applying under the fast-track bill. So far, it's been stopped by courts ruling in favour of environmental protections. Now, before we get underway, Uri no Taranaki whānui, and I have a close whānau member working in offshore wind. Debbie Ngarewa-Packer, the co-leader of the Pāti Māori, has spent years fending off Trans-Tasman Resources plans. She's one of those concerned about the fast-track bill, and she joins us now. Tēnā koe.
Kia ora, morena.
Morena. So what is your reaction to Trans-Tasman Resources saying it wants to go ahead under the fast-track bill?
I think, first of all, to explain the fast-track bill in context, it's a bill that's oppressive, it's a bill that is anti-te tiriti, it's anti-environment, and so then when we see a company like Trans-Tasman Resources, who has been met with 5 court cases of the highest courts in Aotearoa, who have been found lacking in the environmental protection space, have been told so many times that, not just by courts, environmental courts, but by our communities, that they're unwanted, to now find a shortcut through the fast track is just so wrong. It's so wrong in the fact that it ignores, again, in the face of every rights and interest that we have, not only as tangata whenua, but as communities. So, yeah, it's just a big no that they should even be allowed to come back through any door. So
Trans-Tasman says we're going to create a lot of jobs. It also says it has property rights through long-standing property rights in the STB in the form of government-granted exploration and mining permits and an application for extension to a mining permit. So property rights, what do you make of that?
Oh, they have absolutely no rights, and I think that we need to be really clear. From a personal perspective, what my biggest fear, as an uri of Taranaki, as one of those who have been fighting this kaupapa, is that we have seen the legacy when we have lost our whenua. This is my biggest fear, is that we will lose our moana. There is nothing in our tupuna's kōrero on how we restore our moana once they've destroyed it. So there is no rights, no one has any rights to take away our taonga like that and to leave so much uncertainty for our mokopuna.
What about the money they say that they're going to make for the economy, the jobs that they'll be able to generate?
I mean, if we keep following that line that, hey, look, we've promised jobs, we've promised there's going to be this economic prosperity, that was never founded. In the courts, that was never founded, was never proved. In fact, that's why we have the fishing industry, that's why we have local government, we have regional government, we have iwi galore that have said we don't believe that, it's never been founded. But the other side of it, so what? We're just going to ignore our mokopuna's future for the sake of some shortcut dollars that would last a while? These are companies that are proposing 30 consecutive years of desecrating our moana. 30 consecutive years, there'll be nothing left at the end of it. And I don't know about you, Miriama, and I don't know about our viewers, but I know how that feels as a mokopuna in Taranaki to have lost your whenua, to then be able to say to our mokopuna, I'm sorry, for the sake of some dollars, we've destroyed and lost your moana.
So Shane Jones, we just saw Shane Jones there saying development is so important. Dover Samuels is saying the same thing. We need to have development to create economic prosperity. What do you think will be the reaction from Chris, or the answer rather, from Chris Bishop, Simeon Brown and Shane Jones in terms of this particular application?
Look, I think we've seen it. We've seen the Minister for Fisheries, who's also the Minister for Resources, say, we're going to mine and milk the Mother Earth of her, of every milk that she has left in her, every resource she has left in her. I think, we have to put that noise to rest and focus more on our mokopuna and who we are as Aotearoa, who we are as a nation of protectors for our future.
They would argue that they're protecting the future. They would argue development is part of ensuring
absolutely
the future
development is, and there's renewable energy, and we've seen some of the wind turbines, we've seen some of the sustainable energy ideas that are coming through, and they're a sector that are absolutely against the seabed mining, but development shouldn't be at the cost of our mokopuna. And what we've seen, and I've said this before, and I can't say any less eloquently than this, is that we continuously see a government that wants to exterminate our pepeha, exterminate our moana, exterminate our awa, exterminate our maunga. We can't be part of developing something when it involves extermination, or the extermination of our wakapapa, of our taonga. And that is not development. That is regressive, that is destructive. And I think what we've got now is this profit over people and planet whakaro. That is not the oranga of our whānau or our whenua. And Te Pāti Māori will always stand in opposition, and I will personally always stand against politicians that are proposing that that's true intentional development. True intentional development is something that we can intergenerationally live with, and I believe that there are renewable energy, there are great sustainable development ideas. The fact that we want to put housing on Papakainga is great. But again, we've seen in Ngāti Toa, the intensification of housing can absolutely destroy our moana, our awa. So we don't have to be living in oppressive economies like that. And that's our challenge to this government.
So the Select Committee is currently hearing from organisations and the public on the Fast Track Bill. Do you hold out any hope for substantive change? And are you against the Fast Track Bill generally, or just where it's looking at applications that you're not happy with?
Well, so far I've heard maybe about 254 submitters, 14 only who are in favour. There's hundreds, I think 27,000 submissions, 2,900 wanted to speak. It's been relegated down to 500, and not once have I heard those who are really in support of it. Even those who are in support of it have concerns. So I think what we have to see is that, am I for anything that fast-tracks development in spite of our whānau and in spite of our rights and interests under Te Tiriti? Am I in favour of a bill that's basically exterminating everything that we exist for? No. So I think what we have now is a government that's so intentional on profit. And let's be clear that development and profit is for the super wealthy. The fact that they're able to bring back zombie applications and be able to have things that were dead, like Trans-Tasman Resources, and bring them back to life, is not a bill or not an economy and not a future for Aotearoa that we could ever and should ever be supporting.
At the same time, we don't have enough houses or roads. Water's an issue. Something needs to be done. So what's wrong with moving the obstacles to that sort of development?
Well, they're not removing obstacles, and I think we've got to be really clear, because business as usual, building houses and making sure that our iwi and our whānau have the rights as they're afforded, their rangatiratanga, to assert their projects, that should be happening. But what we have here is a bill that is usupi rangatiratanga. It hasn't allowed hapu whānau to be able to be engaged. There's been no public consultation. And so I think we've got to be really clear that absolutely we should be having infrastructure and projects, but that are determined by those affected. And when we see zombie projects coming back to life, those are not being determined. They are only being driven by those who are looking after the super wealthy, and that's what this government's been about from day one.
When you hear the phrase, we need to remove parasitical influences, what do you think is meant by that?
I think what we have heard is a rhetoric from ministers who don't respect whakapapa, and I've heard taranaki being called, all sorts of names within that house. What I am really proud of is that only we can relate to what it was like to lose whenua. And there is no way that we're going to sit quiet and allow government to make sure that we now lose our moana, that we now sit by and watch it be desecrated. So they're up for a big battle. We hear some of the name calling. It's just cheap. It's cheap politicking, but it's also short-lived politicking. One's like us in Te Pāti Māori, one's like us in Taranaki, one's like us in Te Taihawauru. We are here forever, and we're a forever movement, and so, we've been called worse.
We have to leave it there, but ngā mihi nui ki a koe. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Kia ora rau.
Hei muri I ngā whakatairanga. When we return, we head to the hills on a hunt for venison and whanaungatanga. Every whānau needs a great hunter-gatherer who hooks the kaumātua and us up with titi pāua o tia. Many of us have one, and if you don't, ka aroha. Leigh-Marama McLachlan headed out on a hunt in Whanganui.
E witi ana te rā ki te mato te wenua o Kaiiwi, pātata atu ki Wanganui. Kua puta te whānau Pomeroy ki te waka nganga'u.
Our plan is, me, Cooper and Jordan, we're going to cruise off down the bottom of the hill and hit the big flats down bottom. Should take us a couple of hours and we'll walk out. These guys here are going to run 2 trucks. One's going to be in front with the guns and they're going to spot anything what they can to get us a deer for today, a tear. Yeah. You can't really understand the feeling what is when someone's, you've just actually taken a life. But on top of that is you've taken, food for your family, and it's a feeling what you'll never forget, especially on your first kill. All head on the track, you make sure he's on 4-wheel drive.
Nōna ahali e tamariki ana a tainoa ki nei rā, I iko ana tōna ngākau I nei mai.
I hunt because I want to provide meat for my family and give skills for my kids. That's what it's all about. I was hunting with my father, now it's my kids to hunt with me, and they love it.
E te noa, e wā motu ake nei rā wakatā. Koe nei te tai openga a tau mo te waikararehe kai tū wā hoki o Wanganui awa. I tēnei tau, ko Koriniti Marae te kaiwaka aere I te wakataitai mo te waikarare hei patu. E toru rā te roa.
Well, I hope I'm getting the big one. That's the main goal, and just join the culture of the whole weekend and the process of it. Getting amongst other hunters and, see what they've got on the table.
E wātua tai tēnei mo te whānau ki te wakauru wakataitai pēnei, kei te ia mō ngā tamariki.
The first thing I ever shot was a possum, and I was real proud of myself. Ko tō tātou goal, hei tikina, hei tia nui. We want to get a really big one and we want to win the comp.
At least a trophy head we want, at least. That'd be good, yeah. We get up to a lot of mischief while hunting. Sometimes half the time we're not even hunting, we're just mucking around.
You want to have it?
Of course I do. Yeah.
You'd like to try on Jumanji, who has the
And it's always good at the end when we're having some nice stews and casseroles and steaks and salamis and...
Kua ngā kau wiwita te mahi a te whānau Pomeroy I nei rā wakatā. Ko ta I rau te maa o ngā kai wakataitai ka puta ki te roe o Wanganui. Ko te wakawanaungatanga, ko te taiao, ko ngā tikanga Māori oki ngā aronga nui.
My mother missed out on the language as well because her parents didn't push it down. And so I missed out on it. My oldest 2 boys missed out on it, but now I come to a marae and I feel uncomfortable. So that's why it was so hard to drive my kids to learn it properly and go to kura kaupapa and understand it better, because I can't understand it. But they are, and they're teaching me how to understand it better. And I've got a better feeling coming on to marae like we are today. The feeling's way better instead of being here all sheepish and I shouldn't be here.
He tino harikoa, I'm very happy for him. because I feel like it's a new opportunity for him to like be able to relive something that he didn't get to live. And I think it's cool as well that we can incorporate our hunting into it, like just being surrounded by all the Māoritanga, all this good wairoa, as well as doing something he loves and knows well about.
Ka āwake I te rā wakamutunga. Ka re e paku waha tā te whānau. Kua eke mai a e manawa.
Kua ako ahau kia be patient. The sun's been like real in your face today, which made it a bit tricky. We've been finding like some stags. The glare of the sunlight hits like directly where we're looking when we're like trying to see it in the scope, so it's like been a bit hard. But we're in 2 teams at the moment, both searching for deer, so I think we'll get one at least.
My whole goal is to carry it out. I don't like wasting any meat because there's other people out there who need it too. And first what I do is make sure it comes with us and then process the whole lot.
Kua kori katoa te iwi o te pā. Kua iwa tau te tai openga nei e waka airetia ana.
Ko tēnei toku marae me toku kohana hoki.
I've never ever seen this many people here, and I'm proud of my marae, and I'm happy I'm from here.
I tino pai ki te mahi te hunting, me he pai ki te Ngātees.
Do you want to do some hunting?
Maybe one day.
Nā te kaupapa nei te tini tangata I tō mai ki te marae nei.
Makes you proud to become from here, eh? And all these children can walk up into here. I'm so happy because our ngahere is inundated with deer and with all the animals that are eating, and our natives are finding it hard to grow. So I'm happy today to be here and have the hunt on our marae. And I'm proud of all our mokos and our people who are walking in the footsteps of our tupuna.
Ka te I pe ea te mai a te whānau Pomeroy.
A lot of walking, but no success.
Oh yeah, what was it like out there though? You couldn't see any, or?
We could see them. Yeah, we had a few in our sights, but we were trying to go for the trophy to win the competition. But obviously, didn't go our way. That's how it rolls. It's hunting. Yeah, we had fun though.
Kaore te whānau I eke pānuku, engari ka eke tangaroa e tahi atu.
My name's Tana, come from Jerusalem. Just cracked a good old steak. Not bad. Pumping.
Ngā waka manawa ki ngā toa o te wā.
I just want to thank each and every one of you for thinking on the wiki. And so I hope you enjoyed it and turn on first.
Best jaw. Whoever caught this, can I please have the tusks? Because Mustilly's coming and we need some taonga.
Engari, he mai atu I te patu karare.
Being out in freedom, fresh air, enjoying it. Don't have to have that iPad and phone 24/7 at home. It's just being out there where there's no service, just relax and you feel free. If you don't hunt, you don't understand it. Yeah.
Ora, we koe a kei a koe Leigh-Marama e ngā mihi te whānau o Pomeroy, huh? Awesome. Hei muri I te tānga manawa. When we come back, we talk to Troy Kingi about the challenges he set himself, musically and artistically.
I know that window's closed. Why you gotta jump and
love it. whakapiri mai anō. He's one of Aotearoa's most recognisable voices and faces, musician and actor Troy Kingi. Last night, Troy took part in the Auckland Writers' Festival, where he spent the evening composing a new waiata in just 1 hour. He was given a genre and a key line suggested by the audience and had to work his magic, if that seems impressive, and yes it is. Remember, this is a tāne who's already committed himself to a massive creative challenge.
Wait till you hear about his ambitious goal for the next 10 albums.
10 series, 10 albums in 10 years and 10 genres.
And this one's a country album, right, Troy?
10 albums in 10 genres in 10 years.
Tēnei te kōpai puoro tuawhitu nā Troy Kingi.
Troy, 7 albums, 3 to go.
For me, it's starting to feel a bit stale. This special, magical place, I'm hoping that it's just going to trigger some creativity. Creative block has been a big one for me. I've really struggled.
How are you guys feeling?
Anxious, really anxious. I'll just eat this whole thing.
So cool. So I want to talk about Desert Hikoi in just a moment, and 10-10-10. But first, how did he waiata i te haura go last night with the 1 hour for a waiata?
Yeah, I've never done anything like that. So basically, I had someone introduce me before I went on, and they got the audience to give a genre, a title for the song, and the style. So
the genre was
soul, 70s soul, which is in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And the title was If. I don't even know if we stuck to that anyway. We got really deep, and then I was just getting suggestions from the audience, and then there was one point where there was just like about 20 people throwing ideas, and then I'd point to them. Oh, it was quite nice, you know. You'd point to someone like, "Oh, what was that again?" And they'll be like, too scared to give their thing again because there's just too many people sitting there at the same time. So it was quite brave of them to throw their voices out, but I think a few of them had a few drinks before they come in. So
did you nail it? Did you get the way
we didn't get as much as I wanted to, but an hour isn't very long, especially if you have a bit of a talk at the start. But we did have a verse, chorus, pre-chorus, verse, and then a chorus. So we ended up singing it together at the end. It was good.
Do you think that you'll record it? Will it become something?
I really don't know. If I spend a little bit more time on it, maybe, yeah.
Okay, well that's good. That means that actually something was happening.
Yeah, it was
there.
nice. It was good.
Let's talk about Desert Hikoi. This it's on TVNZ Plus, and this followed your odyssey to remove writer's block, and you went to the Californian desert, and it worked. How did it work in removing the writer's block?
Yeah, well, I've put this massive challenge on myself to do 10 albums in 10 years in 10 different genres. And, you know, that's a lot to do within a year, and between the years, not much is changing in my own life, you know. Most of the time I'm at home doing washing, taking my kids to sports, and the same next year it's exactly the same. So what are you going to write about? How are you going to inspire yourself? How are you going to challenge yourself? So the last few albums, the last few years have felt like that. It felt like a hard slog, and I'm trying to get back to the beginning when I first got into the music industry, where everything just flowed and you didn't have to think too much, it just come out naturally.
Yeah.
And so we went over to this place called Rancho de la Luna in Joshua Tree, which is where my favorite album of all time was recorded, Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. And yeah, we got to the studio and we immediately just felt like this is the holy place. Like our idols have recorded there, and the guy who runs the place, Dave, he's like, oh, this is the amp that Josh used for this song. This is the drums that Dave Grohl played on this song. So we just felt like we were in the presence of greats, and
then you went out into the desert to a cave with one of the local kaumātua there.
That was one of my. When we first got there, I wanted to meet someone, some tangata whenua from there. Just like in Māori custom, you know, they want to be waiwai tapu. We wanted to feel welcome to the place that we were at. So we met a kawea elder. He was a doctor as well. And he took us out to the middle of the Mojave Desert to a place called the Old Women's Mountains. And it was like 4 hours, middle of nowhere, no reception. And then he even tells the documentary crew, we can't film here, it's a tapu place. And then he takes us to this little cave. You can only fit 3 people at a time. We squeeze in there and he shows me all the art. his ancestors have done over the thousands of years, and then he sings his song and asks me to sing a song. First song that pops into my head is Te Ao Muhurangi Kaore Te Aroha. And when I did that, everything went silent, even though it was quite a quiet day anyway. And then as soon as I finished, this big gust of wind just blew through the cave. And he's like, that's our ancestors. And I was like, I think it is. Yes, it is.
And then what happened with the writer's block?
There was another little piece when we walked out of the cave. There was this big rock that had little holes in it. And he says, I don't normally tell anyone this, but I feel like you are the right people to tell. And this is our archives. People leave stories, they leave information. Our ancestors have left information. If you want to take it, you can come and take it, or you can leave stories. Feel free to come up. And me and Ezzy, our guitarist, we just went up and we're like, oh, want to take it all. We did do other few things. We had a rongoa ceremony, which ended up being mushrooms, and the very next day I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, and before going to the studio wrote 4 songs before going to the studio, which I've never done in my entire life. So
it's gone? Block is gone?
For that moment it's gone. I don't know, it might be back again, or we might need to try something else. This was back in August last year.
Yeah, because so in the 10-10-10 you're up to, you've just recorded album 8.
This is number 8. Yeah.
Okay, and so this one, so you've got 2 more to go. So what's 9 going to be about?
At the moment, it's a hip-hop album. Yep. Not that I'm going to be rapping all over it. I might just have to get all my mates to come and rap on it. They actually know how to do that. But there's talks about going to the States and maybe doing a doco on that as well. But I know for sure the last one is going to be, I want them to be based on fake James Bond movies. I'm going to name all the movies, and then I'm going to write the theme songs to them, and I want them to sound like You Only Live Twice, that sort of vibe.
Awesome. Cool. So you've covered, okay, so that will be theme songs and hip hop, and what are the other genres that you've covered? Have you done country? Have you done Beyonce's had a bit of backlash
we did,
for that?
Yeah. Folk kind of dabbled in country when I went with Delaney, album number 5. We've done funk was 4. We've done a political reggae, indigenous political album with Holy Colony. We've done a soul album. We've done an 80s synth pop album. Our last album was a soundtracky, not very many vocals in it. So yeah, we've covered quite a large spectrum.
A lot. And you recorded Toi Tū Te Tiriti with Ria Hall and our own Te Kuru Jews.
Yeah.
Would you say that we covered a lot of genres, and you mentioned that one of them was quite political, but is there a political undertone to a lot of your writing?
Not always, but when the times ask for it, yes. And I think National had just got on to power, and then with the Treaty Principles Bill was a lot of talk about that at the time when we wrote it at the end of last year. And we were doing, it wasn't song hubs, I can't remember what the name was, but we had a few Māori artists there and we were collaborating. And I know that Ria is full on, she's political as they come, so when I was working with her, I was like, should we do something about this Principles Bill? She's actually running for mayor in Tauranga. So
that's right, we had her on the
anyone
on the
in Tauranga,
recently.
come on guys, Ria Hall.
I mean, it's so important to have our artists coming forward in times of political turmoil to help us frame our whakaaro around it. So we have to wrap it there, but thank you so much, Troy. It's been wonderful to have you in studio. Love your waiata. You can see Troy in Desert Hikoi on TVNZ Plus, along with any Marae programs you've missed or want to watch again. That is Marae for this week. The team will be back with you next Sunday. Kia hau maru te noho hei te rā wiki. Ko te reo, te take.